All right, thank you so much for joining us today. And guess what? As I said in the previous video, we are going to take example and you are going to practice. So grab your pen and your book and you can work with me. Now you know the formula for finding distance between 2 points. So you can, watching the video and then you are confirming the answers to, and then we are learning together, right? So don't forget, but always make sure you play the video to learn the tricks because some of them I will show you the shortcut when you are doing objectives, the way that you need to go about it so that you grab your answers very fast. Okay, so what's the first thing that we need to do? Now we remember if you pick a point A and B, A is like equal to x1, y1, and B is equal to x2, y2, right? So what was the distance formula that we learned, right? So we learned that distance between A and B, which is the same as the absolute of A and B, is equal to. So you see, the reason why I'm saying that knowing the formulas are very important. It means that this question, if you don't know the formula for finding the distance between 2 points, then you cannot do it, right? So this is going to give us x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 all squared. So this is what you are going to get. Now let's compare this to this to that. So you can see that x1 is the same as minus 3, y1 is 5, x2 is 5, and then y2 is negative 10. So let's just plug them in. So we are going to have x2 is 5 minus x1 is minus 3 squared. So let me just do it and then let me just put it here so that you see it well. So the coordinate is minus 3 and 5, and the coordinate here is 5 and minus 10, right? So when you compare it, x1 is minus 3, y1 is 5, x2 is 5, and y2 is minus 10, right? So I'm just doing substitution. So plus y2 is minus 10 minus 5 all squared. Is that right? So this is what you're going to get. And because of the minus, you can just swap them. It was still going to give us the result. You can pick this one as x2, y2. But basically, it's good to choose your second point for consistency. Do you get it? So let's see what you are going to get. This is going to give us 5 plus 3 squared plus root of, minus 15 squared, right? So that's what you're going to get. And this is going to give us, I think this will be 8 squared. This will be 8 squared plus 15. So you let me maintain the minus 15 squared with the root. Now what happens here? What is root of what is square of 8? Square of 8 is 64, and square of 15 should be, I think 15 times 15 should be 225. I think so, but let me confirm it. Okay, 225. Yeah, I did it. So 225, and then when I add them to 64, I'm going to have root of 289, and I think root of 289 is 17. Don't forget to add your units to it. So this is the first thing that we are going to get. That is the distance between 2 points, right? So I started it by knowing the formula, right? If I don't know the formula, I cannot do it. So that's the first thing that you need to have it in mind. We need to know the formula for calculating the distance, right? So this is the first thing that we did. So very simple. All you need to do is practice. You can pause the video as you've gone through, try and practice too as well. Let's talk about midpoint. Now, as soon as I said midpoint, then if you know the formula already, then it's very simple, right? So we want to talk about the midpoint of A, and we are saying that that midpoint is P, right? So let's write it and see. So midpoint midpoint P is equal to, remember the formula, right? Good. X1 plus X2 divided by 2, Y1 plus Y2 divided by 2. It's good that you remember the formula because you watched the previous video. That is good. If I have not watched the previous video, you can just go there and go and check it out. We learned a lot of formulas and a lot of tips from there. So now the same thing here. We know our X1, X2. So what I'm going to do is, let me just pick this guy here, copy it and paste it there so that we can see the point that we are working with. So let me bring this one down small. Good. And let me paste the point that we are using here. Good. So that we can see what we are doing. Now we know X1. So let's just put them in. Minus 3 plus 5 divided by 2. And then 5 minus 10 divided by 2. Wow. So guess what we are going to get? Let's do simplification. This is going to give us 2 divided by 2, and this is minus 5 divided by 2, and we are going to have something like 1 and minus 5 over 2. This is the midpoint of A and B, which is the P, right? But what is so difficult here? You see that nothing is difficult. All we need to know is we know the formula for finding midpoint, and the rest is just substitution and small algebra. Then we are done, right? So basically, that is how analytical geometry is. The first part, it needs formula and then sketching. We will get to some questions that we need to sketch before we can extract the information, or we can get to solving the question, right? So that is the first question, A and B, finding the distance AB and then midpoint P of AB. Let's look at another interesting question. Good. Now, another interesting question here is the point Q that divides A and B in the ratio 2:5 internally, right? Good, internally. So first thing that you need to remember is, okay, what is the formula for finding a point which divide a line internally? Now first, let me paste my point that we use from the first point we had. This is the point that we are using from here, right? So now we just need to do is we need to actually know the formula, right? So let's try and quote the formula. You can say it out here. Okay, you are right. Okay, so let's write it and see. We are going to have KO of X, Y. So you know that when we learn the formulas, the coordinate is like X and Y. So our Q will be X and Y coordinate. So this will be equal to, remember the formula, right? The one that you said is right. So we are saying that M, right? And then X1 plus, and we said N, X2 divided by M plus N, then My1 plus Ny2 divided by M plus 1. I show you the tip, right? So what was the tip here? I said, you see the way they've given us the point? You see that the point given to us here is A, B. So A comes before B. So the idea is that if you want to get this one right, what you just need to do is very simple. What's the simple thing that we need to do here? I'll show you right now. Don't worry, I'm coming. Let me arrange my this one here, my board, very nice. So the tip I gave you is, since A is coming before B, we are going to have A, B, right? And remember, the ratio was given to us as N is to M. That's what the first thing that you need to know. N is to what? M. So you can see that here N is 2 and M is 5. So what did I say? I said this should go with B and this should go with A. That's what I said. So as soon as you see that, you can see that what are the B coordinates? The B coordinates are the one with x2, y2. So it means that immediately we see that this is our N, which is 2. We go with here, right? And it goes with the coordinate of what? B. And then this one goes with the coordinate of what? A. So this is what we are going to get, which is very nice. We are going to have something like this. So m is 5, right? So 5 times x1, what is minus 3? Is that right? I feel like I have interchanged my formula. Is that right? No, I'm not sure that is right. So let's continue. So plus n is 2, so 2 times what is x2? X2 is 5. Okay, let's go. Then we divide it by m plus n. So m is 5 and n is 2. Then we have m, which is 5, times what is y1? Y1 is 5 plus 2 times y2 is minus 10 divided by 5 plus 2. Good. So what are we going to get? Simplify the top. We have minus 15 plus 10 divided by 7. And then we have 25 minus 20 divided by 7. And guess what we are going to get? The top, when I add, I'm going to have minus 5 on 7. And then this one too is going to give us 5 on 7. Wow. Wow. We did it, right? So basically, we can see that it's all about formulas, right? So one thing, that's the one tip that you need to know. It's about formulas. Learn the formulas and learn how to use them by solving more examples. Is that right? Now let's do when we are talking about externally, right? We want to divide a point externally. It's the same thing. The only thing that's going to change is this and that. But here the ratio to change, right? So we need to go through that. We know our point. We will look at it. So now we know that this is r of x, y, and this is going to give us something like m x1 minus n x2 divided by m minus n, right? And then my1 minus n x2 n y2 divided by m minus n. So this is the formula for finding the external division. Now remember, this one, always our n comes first. N is to m. So the ratio there is 3:1. So n is 3, m is 1. So the rest is just substitution. And then we are done. But what is our point? Our point is this, which was given in the question. So let's do substitution. M is 1, x1 is minus 3, minus n is 3, x2 is 5, all divided by 1 minus 3, and then m is 1 times y1 is 5, minus n is 3 times y2 is minus 10, all divided by 1 minus 3. So you see, math 102 is very simple, right? Just know the formula and just do substitution. Very good. So this is going to give us minus 3. This one's supposed to be 5, right? Yeah, it's 5. So let me write it well. Minus 3 minus 15 divided by minus 2. And then this will be 5 plus 30 divided by minus 2. Oh, let's finish it up. This is going to be minus 18 divided by minus 2. And this is going to be 35 divided by minus 2. And guess what? We are going to have 9 minus 35 divided by 2. Ooh, this is very interesting and very simple for me. And I hope it's going to be very simple for you too as well. Because basically, if you know the formula, then we just need to do substitution. And we need to do more examples so that I know that, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what is expected from me. And I'm done. Right. Okay. So let's look at, we've done CD. Let's look at the E. We want to find the slope of AB. Okay, let me drop my point here. Point from A. This is our point. So we want to find the slope, right? Remember the formula for finding slope, right? So slope of AB, right? We can write it as MAB. Now this is equal to something very simple. We know that it's just changing x and changing y, right? So y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Is that right? So what we do here, we are going to have y2 to be minus 10 minus y1 is 5 divided by x2 is 5 minus 3, what is x1? So we are going to have minus 15 divided by 5 plus 3, which is going to give us minus 15 divided by 8. Very simple. Very, very simple, right? I hope you are enjoying it. You can give me like, comment, and then we are just learning, going. If you have any question too, you can drop it in the comment section. When I finish the video, I'll just check them out and then I will make sure I reply to that. So this is the slope, right? We are done with finding the slope. Let's look at F. Find the equation of the line. So basically, as I said in the previous video, we see that if you get the slope wrong, then it means that the equation of the line too will be wrong, right? Good. So what can we do with the equation of the line? Let me drop my point again. Good. Now this one too is formula, because we need to know that the equation of the line is equal to y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x1. So if you don't know this, then it means that you cannot do it. So basically, that is everything that we are doing here. We need formulas. Okay, so what is the slope? We did it. We had the slope to be this. And then, as I said, x1, y1, you can choose any of the point. But since we are using x1, y1, x1, we can just pick this one. And you can try it. I'm picking this one to do it. You can try it by using this one and making this one x1 and y1. You do it and you get the same results as I'm going to get. So let's go. So this one will be y minus y1 is 5, which is equal to, the slope is minus 15 divided by 8 minus 3. So what are we going to get? Y minus 5 is equal to minus 15 on 8, then x plus 3. We can leave our results in this form, or we can decide to multiply. So what I can do is I'll multiply this one by 8 and multiply this one too by 8, right? So that this 8 will cancel this 8. So when I do that, I'm going to have 8y minus, okay, let me just do that so that you see what I'm doing. Then I multiply this one too by 8, which is minus 15 divided by 8 x plus 3. So this 8 will cancel this 8, and I'm going to have 8y minus 4. 8 times 5 is 40, which is equal to, here we'll be left with minus 15 x plus 3. Let's multiply them through. 8y minus this is going to be minus 15x. Then 5 times 3, 15 times 3 is minus 45, because it's minus. Then if you want to form it like the y-intercept solution, then what I can do is I can just make one of them the subject, or I can just write this one as 8y. Then I can move the 15. Let me write my 15 well. I can move my negative 15 to the right, or to the left. So it's going to be minus, no, plus 15x plus 15x. Then if I move the 45 here, I will have minus 40 plus 45 is equal to 0. So I'm going to have 8y plus 15x plus 5 is equal to 0. This is the equation of the line, which is very nice and very simple, right? So you see, basically formula substitution. We do the formulas and we need to do what? Substitution. Very nice and very interesting, right? Good. So what is the next thing that we need to do here? Now the gene is asking us to find the equation of the perpendicular bisector of AB. Now let me just draw some diagrams so that you understand what I'm trying to say, right? So what I'm saying is, remember, we have a line. So AB is actually a line, because remember when we started the video, or when we started the first question, we were finding the distance between the 2 points. So this is the distance. Now what we want to do is we want to find the equation that is perpendicular bisecting, because when something is bisecting, divide it into two equal parts. So what we are going to do is we are going to have a line. Let's assume that that line is this, and let's assume that this line is, let's say, P, right? So we want to find equation of this. So you will see that we will start drawing some diagrams. We want to find the equation of this line, right? But finding equation of this line, we got a lot to do. We got a lot to do. What is the lot that we got to do? One, we need a point which is on this line, and also the gradient, right? So since it is what bisecting this one, then it means that we have midpoint, right? So this is going to be giving us a midpoint, let's say M. So let's find this point, which will help us to find this. So what is the midpoint? Let's find the midpoint. Now remember, we've done the midpoint already. That is the best thing that we've done. So remember, let's go back. We solved the midpoint, and then we had this. This is the midpoint that we had. So from question B, we've already solved the midpoint of A and B, right? That's the midpoint of A and B. So let me just name this one P, because it gave us to be as P. So we can say that from B, the midpoint is equal to the midpoint P is equal to, I think, what did we get? Oh, 1 and minus 5 on 2. 1 and minus 5 on 2. So you see the best thing here. Then the next thing that we need is, if we're finding the equation of a line, we need the point, we need a point, and then we need a point, and we need a gradient. But what is happening here? We learned something from the previous video that when two lines bisect, they form angle of what? 90. And when they form angle of 90, then what happens? Then the slope of this line, since it's 90, then the slope of this line is just minus 1. Sorry, the slope of this line is equal to just minus 1 of the slope of this line. Or when you multiply the slope of this to the slope of this, we are going to have minus 1. So let's assume that the slope of this was equal to M, which we've already calculated it. So you see, what's the best thing? We've calculated the best slope here already. So we had minus 15 over 8. So minus 15 over 8. Then we want to calculate the slope of this red line here. So let's name it M1. Now we learned that if two lines are perpendicular to each other, then when I multiply their slope, right? When I multiply their slope, it should be equal to minus 1, right? And we saw that if I want to make M1 the subject, I'm going to have minus 1 divided by M. So since I know M is equal to this, then I can find the slope of this line here. So let's do that. Let's plug it in. So I'm going to have minus 1. Now look at something here. This is divided. So instead of writing this divided, because this one is fraction, instead of writing divided, which is drawing this line, I'm going to do the divided like this. Divided by M. M is here. So divided by minus 15 over 8. Then I'll do something like this. Minus 1 times, so I'll change the division to what? Multiplication. Times, then this one, I'll reciprocate this one. So I'm going to have minus 8 divided by 15. And we are going to have 8 over 15. So it means that the slope for this one is just the negative reciprocal of this. So when I take negative reciprocal, I just get what I had there, 8 over 15. So now we have a point which is 1 and minus 5 on 2. So we have a point and we have the slope of the line, right? So what we need to do is, now we know the equation of the line. So now the equation of the perpendicular bisector of AB is going to be y minus, let me say y1, which is equal to 1 over m, because, like, let me say minus, I want to write the equation because it's perpendicular. I'll just minus 1 over, like as we had here, right? Good. And then this one is going to give us x minus x1. But remember, this 1 over m is what we've had here, and we are saying that it is m1. So if I want to do that, then I can just write this is equal to m1 x minus x1. So the next thing to do is do substitution. So now y minus, what is y1? Y1 is this. So we are going to have minus 5 on 2, which is equal to the slope is 8 on 15, and then x minus 1, which is very nice, right? So let's try and simplify it small. So let's try. Okay, let me shift this one up small. Good. And then let's do that. So this is going to give us 5 plus 5, sorry, y plus 5 on 2 is equal to, if I multiply through, I'll just have something like, okay, let me maintain it like that, x minus that. A lot of things here. So what I'm going to do is I'll multiply through by 2. So when I multiply through by 2, I'm going to have, so please, definitely I need to jump down here to write the solutions there. So I'm going to have 2y plus 5 because the 2 cancel, and I'm going to have 16 over 15 x minus 1. Then I'll multiply through again by 15. So I'm going to have 30y plus 15 times 5 is going to give us, I think it should be 75, which is equal to 16 x minus 1. Let's continue simplifying, and we are going to have 30y plus 75, which is equal to 16x minus 16. And then if I want to group everything one aside, I'm going to have my final results to be 30y minus 16x, because if I bring this one here and then I bring this one here, it becomes positive. So I'm going to have plus 75 plus 16 is equal to 0. And we have this one to be 16x. Add them and I'm going to have 91. I think so. Yes, this is true. So the equation of the perpendicular bisector of AB is right here. So you see what we did? We need to sketch to know our line, and since it's perpendicular bisector, we need to have it this form. And since it's 90, it means that the slope of this line is actually the negative reciprocal of this gradient here, right? And then we had this one. Then for us to get a point to calculate the equation on this line, then we need to make sure that we have a point which is on this line. We cannot choose A or B because A and B is not on this line. So that's the reason why we need to go and find the midpoint. A and B is not on this line. So that's the reason why we need to find P, which was the midpoint, and use the midpoint and then the slope to find the equation of the line. So you see that, this one too, we needed to do just substitution, putting them inside the equation. But here we need to do some extra work. Maybe I'll call it some extra hard work, right? So we need to do this hard work to make sure that we get this, and then we get this one too. When we are done with this hard work, then now we come here and do smart work. The idea of just doing substitution, and we are done. So let me just clean the board here so that I can bring up the solution, the final solution for the first one up here. So let me just move this guy up. Good. Let's do the last question. I think so. Yeah, this is the last question, and then we are done with this video. The next video, we are going to take different questions and I will work with them, right? So now we want to find the perpendicular distance from X to AB. Remember, we learned something about perpendicular distance, right? Yes, you do. That is great. That's great. That's great. Because it means that you've watched the previous video, which is very nice. Right. So what is the formula? So as I said, always it's formulas. So what is the perpendicular distance? So perpendicular distance from X to A, I will label it as this. And this is equal to, remember we had absolute ax1 plus by1, right, plus c divided by root of a squared plus b squared. If you don't know this formula, there's no way you can do this question, right? So formulas, that's how math sometimes it is, right? Some courses you just need to remember the formulas. At least if you know the formula, some questions you have like 50% chance of getting everything right. Because if I know this, then now the rest is just doing substitution. Done. Right. So remember we said this. So let me just write what it is here and let me just put it in the diagram form so that we will understand it better, right? So let's see something here. So what we are doing here is we have this line, which is line AB, right? And we have this point, which is X, sitting here, right here, which is 2 and 4. I think I need to move my solutions so that I can have a clear board so that my people will see it very well. Let me move this guy somewhere here since we are done with the top one, right? So this is what we are having now. This is what the question is talking about. We have X and we are talking about perpendicular distance. It means that we have 90 here. But this one, because we have this formula, we don't need that. Now don't forget, when we were learning it, we saw that this point here is x1, this point here is y1. So basically we have satisfied this point and this point. So what is left for us to look for is we need to look for A, B, and C. And as soon as we know A, B, and C, we can also satisfy what is here. But what is this? This is actually the equation of the line. So equation of this line. So the question is, what was the equation of the line? So let's go back. We've done some hard work already to find the equation of the line already. What did we get? That's right here. I think like I know, and I brought this shape on it. So let me just copy this equation of the line here, right? And just send it there. And let's see what we can do with it. Good. Okay, here. So equation of the line, drop, paste here. And let's compare this to what is here. So when you compare, we see that we need to rewrite this one again to be 15x plus 8y plus 5 is equal to c. So this is ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. So we can see from here that a should be 15, that's the coefficient of the x, and b should be equal to 8, and our c should be 5. And do you know that the interesting thing, this is the last question. So our final result, we are going to write it very big. Good. All right, so let's just put them in. So we are going to have absolute of 15 times x1 is 2 from here. Good. Then plus b is 8 and y1 is 4 from there, plus c, which is 5, all divided by root of is it 15 squared? Yep. Plus, is it 8 squared? Yep. Good. So let's see, multiply this, and multiply that. 15 times 2 is 30. 16 times 4 should be 32 plus 5. Now root of 15 squared should be 225. 8 squared should be 64. And then we are going to have what what is here? This is going to be, I think should be 67 or so. Yeah, because 15 times 2 is 30. This is 34. So we are going to have 67 divided by root of, when I add this guy, I'm going to have 2,269 or 289. Good. And the square root of 2, that one should be 17, I think so. Yeah. And when you run it to decimal place, you should have something like, so you see the way I'm going to write my answer. Okay, let me write it here. So you need to have something like, so our final result is going to be 3.941. This is a CGPA. I can see somebody's CGPA. If you think this CGPA is for you, you can type in the comment section, this is my CGPA. Wow. Like, we are ending the video and we have gotten a nice CGPA. You know, this was my CGPA that I think it was more than this small, but this was my CGPA that I used to take the overall best, College of Agriculture and Natural Sciences. So if this is your CGPA, and this will tell me those that they've watched the video up to this end. If this is your CGPA, type, this is my CGPA, amen, in the comment section. It was nice, right? Okay, so thank you so much for staying here, learning with me, Evelyn, and see you in the next video.